What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great. As you saw in the title of this video, and if you follow me on Instagram, and what I'm standing in front of, we've made the jump to the 505. I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and then I will tell you all about it and what it looked like taking delivery in Canada, flying it all the way to Texas, and then all the way home, tell you that whole story, and answer the Q&A I asked about it on Instagram. But first, let's show you what it looks like. All right, guys, what'd you think? It's a lot bigger helicopter, completely different. I am very excited about it. Okay, so let's just get into it. So we've been working on this deal for about a year now. So this one was actually built to be one of Bell's demo helicopters. And so I didn't pick out anything on it, and it's definitely got a lot more on it than probably what I would have put on it. Like a radar altimeter and like 3-axis autopilot, just a lot of stuff that's cool to have, but I probably wouldn't have put it on there if I was picking it out, I guess. It all came together pretty quickly at the end of December, and it was located at the factory in Montreal, Canada. So first part of January, we started working on putting the plan together to go out there and pick it up. Ended up having to do COVID tests, trying to get through into Canada without having to quarantine for 2 weeks. Because I was only there for like less than 24 hours, picking up an aircraft and coming back, I didn't have to quarantine, but I did have to show a COVID test within like 72 hours, which was difficult to do because I was flying in there Tuesday, Monday was a holiday, and Sunday, so trying to get a COVID test in Yuma within that 72-hour range was like a huge pain in the ass. But we pulled it off, got up there, took delivery of it, did a factory tour, went through everything on the helicopter, saw it for the first time, did a test flight to make sure everything works great, which it did, and then we flew it from Montreal down to Fort Worth, Texas, which took us 16 hours. Ended up having to wait out some weather at this small little airport, which was really cool. Caught some really cool photos. Then I was in Fort Worth for a week doing training with the Bell Training Academy. 3 days of ground and then 2 days of flying, which was 2 simulator flights for an hour, which was kind of interesting. It was the first time in a full motion simulator. And you get pretty sick in those. It's just a weird experience all the way around. But it's cool because you could practice things that you would never be able to practice in a real helicopter, like different system failures, and just, it was interesting, it was cool. I liked it. And then we did 4 hours of flying in one of their 505s. I wasn't gonna do run-on landings and tear up my new helicopter doing that. So we did that in theirs. And then we flew it from Fort Worth down to Yuma, and we had Zoe actually came with us. She sat in the back seat. And we had like 40 knot headwinds the whole way. It sucked. I was watching cars on the highway pass us. It was an all-day deal, and it kind of ran into the night, which I was okay with because I wanted to do a little bit of night flying in this thing. And having an autopilot, which allows you to focus on the navigating and reading the screens and making sure you're clear of all the terrain and the planning of the flight, is really nice. As far as how it flies great, tons of power. We did one flight with 5 people in there, and it's an actual 5-person helicopter. Unlike the 44, which you could fit 4 people in it, but really it's a 3-person helicopter with 4 seats. This is a truly 5-person aircraft. Not that I ever really take 5 people with me. It's always just Zoe and I, and or like one other person. It's hardly ever do I ever load this thing up. But knowing that I have the ability to, or the power to do that is really cool. Super simple to fly. It's dummy proof, basically. You flip one switch, it runs the entire startup. I mean, it's just super simple. You guys are getting to see it all. There's gonna be tons of videos coming, I'm sure. But I'm pretty damn happy. So it was a lot of fun going and taking delivery and flying across the country. That means in September I flew north and south across the country, and then now I went east and west across the country, which is a lot of cross country in the last 6 months. And I think I'm fine staying local for a little while. So why did we upgrade? Why did we make the jump? Well, for one, safety, and 2, more power, and it fits what I want to do better. The piston engine in the R44 made me a little bit nervous. I had engine issues. I had a bent push rod that I took off out of Phoenix, made it halfway to Yuma, which is 45 minutes, landed there, no issues there. Took off again and landed in Yuma, got out and looked underneath and it was pouring oil out from underneath it. I had my GoPro running and I went back and checked. I had no indication of flight, none of the gauges indicated anything wrong, no change in power, no change in vibration. I mean, there was literally nothing that implied that I had a problem. And there was like 2 quarts oil left in it and it holds 7. So somewhere between Gila Bend and Yuma, I had something go wrong, and luckily I landed, didn't end up having anything major happen, but the fact that nothing indicated anything wrong was really weird, and I really didn't like that. I bought that helicopter new. I've only had it for 3 years. I'm the only person that's ever flown it. It's been treated great. It's been a great helicopter, but there's been some things about it that I don't really like. And number 2, in the summertime here, if I wanted 3 people or 2 people with a lot of luggage, you're kind of right at the limit of the power. So this thing's got power for days. And 3, the mission. So I like going out camping. I like hauling. Majority of the time I'm hauling gear and not so much people. So the seats in this thing, you can take the 3 seats in the back and you can slide in 450 pounds of luggage and 250 pounds in the cargo hold. So the fact you can slide in ice chest, camping gear, whatever you want in the back seat of that, or in the back, is awesome. It's got a hook, so I'm gonna have to learn how to sling load. That's gonna be interesting. I've heard that's a very humbling experience. It's like learning how to hover all over again. What's weird with this was getting used to the different sight, like how you sit in the 44, you're so much lower, and this you're so much taller. The best way to compare it or explain it is to think like going from driving a car to a truck. You have to learn how much more the front end sticks out, how much farther the back end sticks out. Just getting used to how it feels is probably what takes the longest. All right, let's get into the Q&A. If you follow me on Instagram, you've known about this thing for a couple weeks now, but I'm just now getting around to the YouTube video. But I asked the Q&A on my stories and I want to answer some of those questions. And I don't know how I'm going to do this because I'm using my phone to record the audio. So Bradley asked, how far can you go on a tank of fuel? So you still have about 2.5 hours, 3 hours worth of usable, or 2.5 hours of usable fuel and 3 hours including your reserve. So I can still get the Phoenix. The range is going to be about the same as the 44. Not a whole lot changed there. So Trevor asked, what is the fuel burn compared to R44? So now I'm burning Jet A and it's not burning avgas, but you burn 220 pounds per hour. So 220 divided by, so you're burning 32.8 gallons roughly an hour. So you're burning a little bit more fuel, but remember, usually Jet A is cheaper than avgas. But fuel is the cheap part of flying around. It's the maintenance that you're stacking up and the wear and tear and the time you're putting on the aircraft that's expensive. Okay, I'm gonna butcher this name, but Min Gamenuti asked, how does it perform in high altitude? I haven't had to test it in high altitude yet, but the 505 is supposed to perform really well in high altitude. I think they've taken it up to like 22,000 feet or something. I'm not too sure. It's outrageous. So Joshua asked, how does it compare to the R66? It's just an all-around completely different aircraft than Robinson. The way it looks and feels from the inside is completely different. But as far as power, I don't really know. I couldn't tell you too much. I've only got about 3 hours in R66. Okay, so Self-Made asked, what happened to the R44? It's right here. If you could see it, it'd be right here, but we're gonna get rid of it, gonna sell it. No reason to hang on to it. So Clay asked, how much cargo can we get in that thing? You can get a lot. The hook alone is rated to hold 2,000 pounds. That's what it's rated for. I don't know, you'd have to do the weight and balance to figure out what you could actually haul, but I've been told there's an operator up in Montana that's like sling loading 1,800 pounds. So there's a lot of weight on that thing. And then we got David asking all sorts of stupid questions. How many pies does it hold? We flew to Julian and picked up a bunch of pies, and I'll put the little clip in of him very happily coming back to the helicopter here.
I don't think David got enough pies. That little kick jump thing, they're probably all upside down now.
Big AZ Adventures asked, what is the biggest adjustment for you from the R44 for you? Probably learning how to fly turbine engines compared to piston engines. I'm used to having to watch manifold pressure and like oil temperature and stuff like that. And oil temperature is you still have to watch that. But now you have completely different parameters that you have to monitor. So Lawrence asked, top 3 transitions from the 44. Definitely, like I said, learning how to fly a turbine. 2, just the way it feels. Like I said, it's like going from a car to a truck. You got to learn how much farther the front end sticks out, different sights and feels. And number 3 would probably be the G1000s. Like, I don't have any gauges or like any screens in the 44. I've never flown screens except for having an iPad. Learning how to fly with G1000s and all about that has been a learning curve in its own. But I'm actually pretty comfortable with them. I've had a lot of time sitting next to David in Bonanzas and flying around, G1000s in there, but I've never really manipulated the screens or how to do a whole lot there. Cooper asked how many hours until solo. So I can solo now. The only entrance requirement was 25 hours to dual and the Bell Training Academy, which I had 25 hours by the time I got home. Plus I did the training academy, so I'm good to go. All right, guys, that is all the time I have for questions. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're as excited as I am. I am very excited. It is freezing in here, and I gotta take all this stuff apart and take it home. Thank you very much for watching. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.